out in the Stanford game, just the overall the performance and the improvement of your special teams units?
I just think that, it's a process like anything else. I mean, I think it showed up defensively as well in special teams, trying to identify people that, just because you can do it in practice, trying to get guys in the right positions on game day. It's probably the best overall. I'm not sure. I know we set up 2 scores on special teams, possibly 3. I couldn't remember if they scored on the return to the 40-yard line on the kickoff return or not. But it was very pleasing. It's just the kids. I think they start to understand the importance of how special teams can affect a game. I mean, we said it in the game plan. The bottom line is it's going to come down. I think just because of Montgomery, I think it forced a little bit more focus and concentration. And it was a great teaching moment because now they understand. Now, look, if we take that same focus and same concentration, same passion into special teams each and every week, we can create field position, we can score, set up scores, which is what we did the other night.
Todd mentioned that you guys retooled your kickoff coverage a little bit.
Yeah, I just did. I mean, I just sat there after, something that's been so good for us over the years, all of a sudden wasn't working. So you have to sit back and look at, well, it just might not be the kids. You got to look at yourself and what we're doing. And so I thought, well, obviously, there's a disconnect in what we're trying to get accomplished. I mean, we allow some big returns this year. Allow one to take one to the house. So I just sat there over the break, and we sat down, and I said, I just don't like what we're doing. Let's change it. And we did, and I really think it's going to pay huge dividends. The kids are a lot more comfortable in what we're trying to do now. We got more people around the ball going to the football. I mean, when you can hold a returner like that to 19 yards of return on 5 returns, that's impressive.
Keith, how did you assess the defense's play in the game, and what did you think were the main factors in the way they excelled against Stanford?
Honestly, I think they were probably a little bit shocked about the size and physicality. I mean, we averaged probably 323 pounds across the front. I think that really firmed up the run fits. You didn't see any. I mean, we dominated the line of scrimmage, I felt like, all night long, and I think that probably caught them a little bit off guard. And it just therefore makes things a lot easier for linebackers to fit up, when those anchor points aren't getting pinged out of their gaps. And I said that after the USC game, really just other than the one play where we got pinged out of our gap, where they scored the long run there at the end of the game. I could see our run fits beginning to tighten up, but I really thought that that was probably the biggest area of improvement last Saturday. And then we didn't give up cheap touchdowns. And if we do that, we're going to continue to improve as a defense.
Is there anything that makes Antonio more suited for that wing position as opposed to the double position?
Yeah, I think so. What has happened, I mean, when you got young, inexperienced players, whether it's miscommunication, whether it's a misalignment, busted assignment, 70% of all big plays in Division I football, it's not great execution by the offense. It's a misalignment or a busted assignment. Well, that was pretty much what was happening to us. We said, man, we have to eliminate that. And if you look at it, it's kind of, basically it looks just like it did week 1 when I got here in spring football with Salamo at Sam, Tony at Will. And you cannot replace experience. And we'll get some really young, talented linebackers, but we just got to maybe we put too much on their plate too early. I don't know. But we didn't make those critical errors that we've made in games 1 through 6 or 5, whatever it was. So I think that really helped. It wasn't near as disruptive. And again, it doesn't mean those guys aren't going to play. We just got to maybe take a little bit off their plate and set them up for success.
When you're going up against a team like Washington that has a defense that takes the ball away like they do, I'm wondering if your unit kind of feels like it needs to, step up and match them.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, anytime you go on the road, it's hard to win on the road, and taking the football away is going to play a critical part in this football game. We're doing a great job offensively protecting the football. We got to step it up, and I think you'll see that. I think our kids are just now really starting to get a grasp on our defense and what I mean. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but what we do on defense it's complex. It's not just what everyone else does. So therefore, I really feel like our kids are just now getting a grip on it, and then getting the right personnel on the field in the game has really shown the improvement.
How impressive is that punt from Matt Hawk that led to the fumble?
You know, it didn't. It surprised probably everybody but me. I sat here and watched him do it day after day after day. You know, 4.5, 5-second hang times in practice. He just has to get to where he does that on a more consistent basis, and that's what I challenged him with. We've got the deep snapping issues corrected, which should start showing up in the consistency in the kicks with Matt, and that's the biggest challenge with him. Just going out there and kicking it like that with confidence. Again, I think everyone's focus was just maybe a little bit sharper, knowing that if we do not execute on special teams, it could go to the house.
Has Cherry's evolution enabled you more versatility?
No doubt. I mean, you're talking about a 300-pounder, that has the ability to, sit there and anchor the end of the line of scrimmage. So you don't see a lot of movement. The gaps are shrinking because of the size of the people we have up front, and he's athletic enough to be able to get pressure on the passer. There's no doubt. I think as long as he continues to get better, Molatu was another one who just gets better and better and has really shown tremendous strides, and very excited about both those guys.
Coach, what is one thing that jumps out on tape when you watch Charlie Washington play?
I think just their big play capability. I mean, they got any time that a quarterback can extend plays and move you got to be disciplined in your coverage. You got to be disciplined in your rush lanes. So we got to be very aware of that. Then they're very similar to some of the teams we've faced already. They can throw a negative yardage route or a hitch route, and it can turn into a 60-yard gain just like that. So we got to do a great job of swarming the football, which I think we're getting better at. Running to the ball, can't leave people isolated out, making one-on-one tackles. But that's what jumps out of me is that they got guys who can that can take it to the house, and you cannot have one-play drives.
What has held Marcus Ball back from getting some playing time? Is it just kind of caught a numbers game at those positions?
A little bit, and again, just trying to, where does he best fit? He plays behind some really good players at every position. I mean, I think the development of Jordan Simone, Damaris Randall, obviously we knew what he was, and then you go to Liu. So I mean, where do you play him without putting him inside? Those guys are just performing at a very high level right now. But he still has just a tremendous attitude, and is going to be a great player for us. And when that time comes, I don't know. That'll be up to him and how things go.